Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to DYD Cafe. This is a platform to connect dreamers. Passion meets purpose is our calling, and we strive to connect dreamers throughout the world. We started DYD Cafe when we realized that there are lots of people who had dreams but did not have the necessary support system to help them achieve their dreams. So we thought, let's create a community who will mutually help each dreamers to help them move towards their dream. So what we aspire to do is to build a network of social relationships by motivating and inspiring people through the stories of dreamers who have achieved their dreams, through the choices they made and paths they paved. Today we have a special person, a dreamer, who was a software engineer. Yes, most of our dreamers have been software engineers. I don't know why do we see that pattern, but yes, she was a software engineer, worked in software industry for 2 years, and then she realized that maybe she needed to do something different. And yes, here we have Pavitra Shetty, who is a staunch believer in the potential of human body and power of meditation to attain it. She quit her job as a software engineer, explored yoga, found the deepest sense of happiness, and decided to pursue it as her career. She is a true example of how passion can be nurtured by connecting the faculties of our mind. So, welcome, Pavitra. Welcome to DYD Cafe.
Thank you so much.
And to host Pavitra today, we have a special person, Neha, who is a graduate. She's just completing her BA in psychology. She'll be having conversation with Pavitra today to understand what made Pavitra to take this plunge from a techie to a yoga instructor. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Vinish. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 11th episode of DYD Cafe. Pavitra, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me.
Welcome. Okay, so we're all curious. Curious to know how, being an engineer, you got into yoga as a profession. Like, we don't see a lot of engineers practicing yoga, so it's very rare. So, can you tell us more about that?
Okay, it wasn't something that I suddenly happened to choose. Yoga was a part of my life, but I did not happen to take it seriously until recently, right? So I was doing my software job, like he said, in an IT company, and I think it did not take me a long time to kind of figure out that it is not the place where I belong. I did not have much interest in the work I was doing or computers per se. Actually, I'm not a gadget person, right? So something that I was doing was completely not my interest. So I kind of knew that it was not where I belonged. So it didn't take me much time to realize that. But choosing yoga, however, happened to be kind of accidental. But I think slowly and gradually I developed interest and I was intrigued to know more and more about it. I think that's what passion is about, right? You're curious about something. And I think only the things that you are curious about is basically the things you care about the most. So
That's
I
true.
wanted to learn more and more about yoga, which is how I got drawn into this field. And eventually I thought I have to take it up as a full-time career because what better than something that pays you as well as keeps you happy, right?
That's lovely. You found your passion in a very unexpected way.
Yeah,
That's really
true.
nice. Yeah. Uh, since when have you been practicing yoga? Was it your childhood dream? No, no, right?
Okay, it wasn't really my childhood dream. Like I said, it was a part of me. Like my mother used to learn yoga, right? So I used to go along with her. I used to just tag along for a few classes. But it wasn't like a consistent thing. It wasn't persistent. It's not like every day I used to go to these yoga classes. But however, after which is when, when I started to think about these things, I think all of us have heard as to, when nothing really works, people turn towards yoga. We all know that, right? Like when medicines don't work, people don't turn towards yoga. When people are deeply stressed and they don't know what to do, they turn towards yoga. So I was always curious as to what is it about yoga that is like a one solution for almost everything. So I think that is when I started considering it seriously. It isn't like it was my childhood dream. I think considering it as a career option would have been the last thing I could actually think about, because all of us are at least in the society that we live in, we are kind of like made to believe the fact that there are only these mainstream jobs, at least us millennials, right? Like the 90s born kids and all. We have a particular stream of job that we think can pay us. At least now I think a lot of people are getting exposed to various other stuffs, which is a good thing. So yoga being a career was absolutely not my childhood dream or something, but I did develop an interest towards it. I think that led to all of this. Right now I'm like having a lot of dreams as to what I can do in this particular field.
Okay, yeah, you definitely took from a conventional path, you took a completely unconventional one, and that's great. At what point did you realize that engineering was not your cup of tea, and how did you have the courage and confidence to just quit a stable job with no backup plan at all?
Okay, yeah, that can be pretty scary. I mean, it's very scary. I think that is one thing, the fear that, you're doing a job that is paying you pretty well, and at the end of every month, you're getting your salary, so everything is sorted. The fact that you will leave the job and you have no idea what you're going to do with your life can be very scary. So I think that is one thing that is stopping a lot of us from quitting our job. Of course, it is scary. If I say it isn't, then it would be a lie. But also, at the same time, it is a step you need to take necessarily, because you can't be stuck in a place where you don't want to be stuck in. So this continued for 2 years actually. I was procrastinating so much, thinking that okay, next month, okay, tomorrow, let me just push it a little bit and see if I can find my interest in the place that I am in. But I think there was this one time when I was really hit hard by this question as to why, like, why am I doing what I'm doing? It is
Correct.
not giving me any happiness. Like, doing a job just for the sake of eating, like, we all earn to eat, right? I don't think that is fun, because, come on, we all have just one life. You got to do something you like doing with, passion. I remember there was a lot of lifestyle changes because I used to work in shifts and all of that. So eventually, at least for the first few months, okay, you start getting used to it and all of that. But I suddenly realized I'm just getting used to misery. I'm just getting used to ordeal. It didn't do any good for my health or my mental state, or it's not making me a better person in any way. So
Mm-hmm.
I kind of lost the sense of purpose. I just did not know what I'm doing with my life. And I was like, what, 22, 23, 24, something of that age. And that's when I realized that's like the prime time of my life where I can experiment in things. So, I was like, in my head, I used to always think, what if, I'm stuck in the same place, say about 5 years, 10 years, because I feared to quit my job, right? Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to face. It's hard to face your family the first
Yeah.
place, to like
Yeah.
get up and say, okay, hey, I'm quitting my job. It's really difficult. You have to convince a lot of people around you. So obviously it was difficult, but I again thought, what if in, like, 5 or 10 years, if I'm in the same place where I am in, obviously maybe I'll move one ladder up another step. But maybe after 10, 15 years, someday when I'm sitting in front of a computer doing that job, I can, look back and think about, what if I just took that step? What if I quit my job? Maybe I would have been in a better place. Maybe I would have been happier. I hate regrets in my life. So, regretting about something that you could have done and you didn't do, that can be very painful, right? Like,
Correct.
because obviously you
Yeah.
don't get the time that you lost. So, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's always better to try, even if you fail, you will have no regrets because it's you who chose it at the end of the day. Even if you
Yeah.
have to blame somebody, it'll be yourself, right? That's always
Mm-hmm.
better. So I think that's what made me take a call. I'm like, it's okay, I don't want to live a life with regrets. I'm going to quit my job, and whatever comes comes. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, compared to other people, you realized it really quick. I mean, 2 years is not a lot of span,
Oh,
a
true
lot of.
that.
Yeah, so
True
I
that.
would
Like I
say you
said,
were.
because yeah, the first week in my job itself, like I said, before getting into IT, when I used to watch all of those big fancy buildings, right, the glass buildings and all from outside, I fancied them. Okay, I was like, oh, this looks really fancy. It must be something nice to work inside. But then when I actually got in there, and I'll be honest, no offense to anybody who's working in that field, we are just robots inside there. Okay, we are doing
Mhm.
something, we're just constantly being busy, we don't even know if we're being productive, right? We don't have a personal life outside. A lot of times we're just busy doing something, proving something to our bosses. We're not even happy, we're constantly cribbing on every Friday nights, hanging out with our friends, we're just cribbing about our jobs. That's not nice, right? I think very soon, it didn't take me much time at all to realize, okay, no, cribbing is not helping me, because you'll find a lot of people who thinks like you, that it was actually not at all difficult for me. If I sat around, a lot of people would be around me who think the same as I do. But nobody really
Mhm.
takes that step. I think
Yeah.
that's a fear. Again, obviously, you'll have to consider a lot of other things. It's not like I woke up one morning and then I decide to quit and I quit. Obviously, a lot of factors have to be considered for you to be
Correct.
confident enough. For
Mm-hmm.
example, I think I was taught about this thing about saving money, like, rainy
Mm-hmm.
day savings by my family. So there are a lot of people who spend all of their salary they get. By the end of the month, they are like zero. They don't have anything in their
Yeah.
account. I think that's one very wrong thing that our generation is doing right now. It's always
Mm-hmm.
good to have a little bit of rainy day savings, because you never know what
Correct.
life brings in front of you. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that I did that. I saved enough for myself to sustain at least about maybe 6 or 7 months without having a job that pays me, obviously with minimum expenditure. So I think that was very, very important, because I did not want to depend on my parents or friends
Mm-hmm.
financially, because they have made me into a person who can be independent of earning. When
Correct.
their
Yeah.
job is done, it
Mm-hmm.
was completely my choice to quit the job or to switch career. It was completely my choice. So burdening somebody else financially would have been a very bad idea. So yeah, savings is very important. I don't know if I would be confident enough to quit the job if I had not done that savings. Yeah.
Correct. You took the next step. I mean, you realized it for yourself and then took the next step. So how difficult was it, or how easy was it for you to make that decision to move forward?
It wasn't easy at all. 2 years
Mm-hmm.
is not a very small time, so you can imagine. And believe me when I say this, every day of my 2 years, I've been thinking about quitting my job. So, and besides, I've always been, I've looked up to people who go outside of their comfort zone and go against the grind, not let the circumstances around them decide for them, right? So I've always been really impressed by people like that. So I think that was always in my head. I did not want to get stuck in the social norms. I wanted to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that also helped me. Like, probably it was always in the back of my mind.
What were the steps you took to get started in your current career, like once you quit your job?
Okay, so once I quit my job, I decided that I will be joining yoga classes, right? So by then it was in my head that I probably can take this up as a career. Obviously, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of questions were raised by my family, my relatives, and all of that. A lot of people thought that it cannot be a career that can promise you money, which can be true sometimes, but you just don't have to, get doubtful about your choices. So I think
Mhm.
that helped me. As soon as I quit my job, I joined Akshar Yoga Institute, which is Power Yoga Institute. And I think I just joined basic classes, but I think, it's true when they say that what you are seeking is seeking you, right? If
Seeking
you've
you,
heard
yeah.
that. Yeah. So I was lucky to be blessed with this amazingly inspiring man who was my first yoga teacher. His name is
Mhm.
Hoshida Dubash. He was so amazing, and I had no idea as to how beautiful this art of yoga is. And I think eventually, as and when I learned from him, everything just fell into place. I think that's when I figured, okay, this is my calling. I don't think I could have discovered anything more beautiful than this. So I wanted to dig deep into it. I wanted to know more about it. See, this is not something that happened when I used to work in the corporates. Like,
Mhm.
even if you brought in front of me the most interesting news about the technology, I would be least interested to know about it. But that was not the same thing with yoga. Like, every day I would be interested to know more on the
Mhm.
spiritual side, on the anatomical side of yoga, on the physical side, everything. I wanted to know more and more about everything. So, like I said, I was really curious, and I even saw that there are successful people who have taken up yoga and made it as their career. Because when you're surrounded
Mhm.
with people like that, you tend to get confident about yourself, right?
Correct.
I
Mhm.
even happened to speak about this with my mentor, like my master.
Mhm.
He also kind of like encouraged me to do this, and that's when I took up the teacher training course right there in the same institute. And
Okay.
that was solely for the purpose of, knowing more about what exactly yoga is. And then one thing led to another, and finally, I started taking my own classes.
That's nice. We would like to know what are you currently working on and how do you set goals for each session and what do you hope to achieve through that?
Okay, so basically, each session, it depends. Like, right now, I'm working for another organization, that's Cult, right? Apart from this, I take my personal sessions also. So these two things are completely different when you ask me what I do in my sessions, because when I teach in Cult, it's like, see, people want to learn yoga for different purposes, right? Like, for me,
Correct.
yoga may be different for me, and for you, it might be completely different. As far as the current situation is concerned, a lot of people want to try yoga mostly to lose weight and to de-stress themselves. These two are the main reasons. So a lot of people that come to Cult is a cross fitness organization. So there we don't really focus more on the spiritual side of yoga. So right there, when I take sessions, I concentrate more on hatha yoga, which is a basic form of yoga, or power yoga, which is a more intense form of yoga, or maybe building up the core, or it could be relax yoga, where people just come to not, do some physical exercise, but to relax, like yoga nidra, guided meditation, pranayama, and all of that. So these are the things that I do in Cult. But when I take my personal sessions, I believe that they should be, shown all aspects of yoga. So I make sure that I start with a small meditation so that they tune into themselves, they prepare for the session, and after which I take them through a series of flows, asanas. Again, the asanas depends on what the member wants from you. um, and that's how you will deliver it to them, right? So depending on that, I teach them the asanas which is suitable for their whatever serves their purpose. And I end it with pranayama as well as meditation. So again, pranayama, I keep teaching them different pranayamas, because pranayama is very important. You just can't finish off your exercises and get out of the
Uh-huh.
class, right? Because prana is, it's everything about yoga. You need to know how to breathe in and breathe out. That's like
Mhm.
the basic. A lot of people struggle to do asana just because they cannot control their breath during the movements. So
Mhm.
pranayama is one thing that really helps people to control their breath. So I don't compromise on that. I make sure asanas and pranayama and meditation, everything is included in one session. So I try to keep that a flow in 1 hour as much as possible, like keep it organized.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure you experienced a lot of challenges while making the switch in your career. So, how did you overcome them? Would you like to tell us about the
Uh,
challenges?
Yeah, okay. So the first and foremost challenge that you will face is the fear that is within you. Like, you're
Mm-hmm.
constantly doubtful as to what next, what next. Like, what am I gonna do if I fail? So you should know this rule number one, very important for all of us to learn, is to accept failure. I think a lot of us are not ready to accept failure. So the fear of failure can be one challenge that is on your way, but I think I tried to prepare myself for that from the beginning. I tried to, I was prepared to go broke. I was prepared to be being judged by people. I was prepared to, what did I just say? Fail. All
Yeah,
of these, I got myself ready to face all of these before I quit, because you can't let yourself sulk in it forever, right? So obviously the challenges are, failure is one thing, and convincing your parents can be a very, very hard thing unless you have really understanding parents. I'm sure a lot of parents are understanding, but again, their point of view is they just want their kids to be settled in a nice, secure job and all of that, right? Indian parents, you can't help it. So you have to find a way to convince them, telling that it's okay, I'm going to do something out of it, don't worry. So that's
mm-hmm.
another major challenge. And you will obviously be judged by people, because it's run by the society, right? Like, I think the biggest pandemic, if you ask me right now, is the career beliefs in our society. I think that has like killed so many dreams and so many people.
True.
So you have to be ready to face that also. Like, a lot of people will tell you, what is this yoga? Like, is this even a job? Or, is it even going to pay you as much? You don't have to, just don't pay attention to all of that. Just hear them and shake your head, and just, you have to just keep moving forward, do your thing, stay focused, stay dedicated. Don't let yourself get affected by any of these. I think all of these challenges will obviously come your way. It came my way as well. But the only thing is, you have to be confident about yourself. And
Correct.
patience
Mm-hmm.
is very important. It's not like you quit your job and tomorrow you have another job waiting for you, telling,
Mm-hmm.
okay, pick me, I'm going to pay you. That's not going to happen, right? So you have
Mm-hmm.
to have patience to wait until something comes your way, and keep trying and not give up, I think.
Right. What would you say are the factors an individual has to consider while making a change? And do you think it depends on what stage of life they're in, and what are the things they need to consider?
Okay, so first of all, to switch to something that you really like, I don't think there's a particular age to do that, because we have a lot of people around us who have switched their careers to do something else, even in their late 40s and 50s. So that's
Correct.
actually not, there's no age limit for that. But of course, practically talking, as you grow up, there is a lot of things on your plate. Like, you can make a choice, but there is a lot of other things to consider apart
Mm-hmm.
from the things that you would consider at this part of your life, right? Maybe you will have a life partner, maybe you will have your kids, and maybe you will have to explain a lot of things. You will have responsibilities of other people as well. So I think it would be slightly difficult, but I don't think there is an age limit at all, like at any point of your life, to choose what you want to do. Just
Right.
do what makes you happy. Doesn't matter
Mm-hmm.
what age you are.
Also, there are other factors. For example, what about your family? Did you have to support your family or something, anything else?
Okay, fortunately, there were no people depending on me. So I did
Okay.
not have to think much about that factor. Like, like, what
Mm-hmm.
if I lose my job? How am I gonna, feed all these other people? So fortunately, I did not have anyone dependent on me. So I think if you really have people who are depending on you, a lot of us do, right? In that
Mm-hmm.
case, you probably might want to have a plan B. But don't get
Right.
scared. Like, I mean, if you're quitting a job, which means you already have your prior work experience, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if nothing works out at the end, obviously there has to be a similar kind of a job that can offer you, right? So I think don't get
Yeah.
scared about that part, but also it's important to have a plan B.
Right. You just mentioned a plan B job. Hita, she is curious to know what your job role was in the IT, and she says she used to feel the same thing that you felt every day.
Okay, okay. So I did not have a really, really technical job per se. So we were dealing a little bit of, we were in a team called Collab Team, which dealt with a little bit of everything, right? So it included a little bit of networking, it included a little bit of everything was included in it. So it wasn't particularly on one stream, but a lot of other things. Like we were in a collab team which included a lot of technical stuffs from all the other teams. So we had to deal with a lot of tickets and solve them. So it was something of that sort.
Okay, I hope that answered your question, Hita. Balaji wants to know, has any factor that you learned from your corporate experience helped you with your current career?
Of course. Okay. So, okay, I think I didn't say this, but I don't regret the fact that I spent 2 years of my life in the corporates because everything is a learning experience at the end of the day, right? So, the place that I was in, obviously, I learned how people are managed. People management skills can be learned great in corporates, and also how to be assertive to things, right? You can learn a lot of things in the corporate, obviously, a lot of good and the bad things, but I think it's up to you to pick what you really want to. So,
Right.
corporates did play a really great uh, role in my life.
Okay. Rashmi would like you to talk about power yoga. Is
Hmm.
that?
Okay, so she wants to know what is Power Yoga?
Yeah, please brief on power yoga.
Okay, so Power Yoga is basically a form of yoga which includes a lot of vinyasas. So when I say vinyasas, these are flows. Okay, like there are a lot of types of yoga like Ashtanga yoga and Raja yoga. All of these are different Kriya yoga. But when it comes to Power Yoga, this concentrates more on the intense physical form of yoga. So here, like Ashtanga yoga and all of that, what happens when we go into a particular asana? We stay there in that asana for a couple of seconds until we get, until we breathe and nicely let that asana affect us in a nice way. But Power Yoga is not that. We don't stay in one particular asana for a long time. We quickly switch from asana to asana. We add vinyasas in the middle and we make it a little bit more intense, like you're constantly sweating throughout a power yoga class. Power yoga is like my favorite form of yoga. It's really interesting. You don't have to really stick to the books in power yoga. You can add your own stuffs and your own vinyasa forms and all of that. So I think power yoga basically is a more intense form of yoga.
Okay, thank you. Vinay Agarwal wants to know if you could suggest where they could start from, like where should beginners start from?
Yoga.
Yes.
Okay, you have to obviously start by learning yoga, no matter what form of yoga that is. You have to start because you will never know what you will like unless you try it out, right? So it doesn't matter whatever it is, choose the nearest classes, whatever is convenient to you. Walk into a nice a yoga institute, start your own practice. So I think eventually you will figure it out for yourself. Like, what kind of yoga is that interests you a lot? Obviously yoga is
Correct.
just one thing, it's not like it's very different from each other, but again you will know, right? Like if you're interested more in the pranayama part of yoga or just the physical asana part of yoga, or a lot of us are interested only in the meditation part of yoga, right? So it
Right.
doesn't matter where you start from, just take up sessions, start from the scratch, and then you'll figure it out for yourself.
Okay. Hita wants to know how many years did you train to become a teacher? And did you
I
take any
train.
and
Sorry.
did you take any certification or any other classes?
Yeah, I have taken a TTC certification in yoga, and recently I finished my anatomy and nutrition part of yoga as well. It was an L1 certification that I finished. So initially, I just finished the basic certification in yoga, which is a teacher training course. We call it TTC. And later on, I went ahead and did my L0 and L1 certification, which included more of like anatomical and nutrition part of yoga as well.
Okay, thank you. Vinita wants to know, how did you figure out yoga was your destiny?
Yeah, so I think it was gradual when I started doing yoga itself, right? Like it was as every day I used to wake up being excited just to go to my classes. It wasn't like I was earning. It wasn't like nobody pushed me to do these
Right.
things. I was genuinely interested. In a long, long time, I found this sense of fulfillment in what I was doing, right? Like when I stepped on my mat in my sessions, when I stepped on my mat, I could forget everything that was happening around me. It was just me and myself. It was like the deepest kind of listening that I'm having with myself, like you don't care about what's happening around you. It's just you and your body and your mind. So that's like it's an experience I think everybody should maybe have in their life at least once. So I think that's when I figured, okay, this is my calling. This is what makes
Okay.
me genuinely happy.
Mm-hmm. What were the changes you experienced in terms of quality of life in both the professions?
Oh, it was a great deal of difference between corporates and yoga. Uh, I think everybody talks about it. Like, it's not cliche, but it's true. The corporate life is that way because, at least I think at this point of time, all of us who work in that field are working in shifts, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, when it comes to lifestyle, my entire lifestyle was changed because I used to work in three different shifts: morning, evening, and night. So I did not have sense of what I'm eating, if it's healthy or not. I used to just eat things at odd times of the day, odd times of the night. As soon as I finished my night shift, I wouldn't get sleep the next, the entire week
Mm-hmm.
because the
Yeah.
shifts would change every week. So that was completely draining my energy, and I did not
Mm-hmm.
even realize it was for a long, long time, right? Initially, it's all fun because it's different parts of the days and you have fun, but eventually it gets to you. You start
Mm-hmm.
feeling that, okay, it's literally draining your energy off you. But yoga, obviously, it's not that, it's
Yeah.
it's a feel good thing. So there's a lot of difference between corporates and between what I'm doing right now. I don't have to please anyone. I don't have to really push myself hard to do something because I am motivated and inspired by myself, right? Like by the job that I'm doing because I want to know more and nobody's pushing me to do it. So obviously, it's completely different than the corporate job that I used to
And
do.
it comes naturally to you now
It
rather than.
comes naturally. True, true.
Okay. Vidish wants to know, do you now believe yoga is what you will always do in life, or do you think you'll find something else to experiment with?
Okay, so I have been this person who cannot stay stagnant in one place from an early age. I've been wanting to try my hands in different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for now, as far as I can think about my near future, I don't know. Maybe something will come up my way, but yoga will stick with me. It's not something that I will give up on. But yeah, I think right now I'm just dreaming to do something different and something big in the same field.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to fill my hands in different things? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe something else will interest me tomorrow and I might walk into that. But it's not like I'm going to forget yoga. Yoga is going to be with me forever.
Yoga will remain your constant.
Yes, it's going to be
Uh,
my constant.
uh, what are your plans for the future? What more do you hope to achieve?
Okay, so I really want to have an institute of my own, and
Mm-hmm.
I want to teach my style of teaching to a lot of people out there. It's quite difficult. It's not like how you take a personal session one on one, right? There are a lot of factors to consider when you have an institute of your own. So I think I'm working on that. Working with Cult is probably helping me to work on that, because you know how, as an organization and as an institute, you would have to work. So that's actually my long-term plan, I guess.
Okay. And compared to organizations like Cult, what would you do different in your own organization when when you started?
Okay, so I basically I'm a person who's very much drawn towards spirituality. I
Mhm.
think if I happen to have my own institute, Touchwood, then I would want to include a lot of spirituality along with physical form of exercise. So I think
Okay.
that's what I would want. I am not gonna concentrate just on the, okay, let's lose some weight, let's shed some weight kind of a yoga, but let's get better mentally kind of a yoga as well.
Okay. Saket says that he is also learning yoga, but he couldn't match with everyone's level, and sometimes he loses his track in between. Also, what would you tell him?
It's completely normal, because even when I started from the scratch, I had no idea about what people were doing around me. Like, it was my first class and I was pretty nervous. It was a class of like probably some 40 to 50 people, and everybody around me are doing this amazing yoga. And I'm like scared to lift my hand and my legs, and I'm like, oh shit, what is happening? I was very conscious as well. But you have to keep doing it. That's when I actually spoke to my master. I'm not able to do this. He's like, just give it some time. It's your body. You got to go gentle on it. You can't like force your body to do something. You should not be comparing yourself with anybody around you, because this is not a skill. This is not something you see and learn. This is something you do. This is something you're working on yourself, and each of our body type is different. Some of us are
Mm-hmm.
flexible right from the beginning, from an early age. Some of our bodies are very stiff, no matter how much you practice, our bodies will be stiff. It takes a lot of practice for us to get into that stage. So please don't compare yourself with anyone around you. Give time for your body. You will come to that stage. Don't worry. Just have patience and work on your practice every day.
Great. I hope that helps, Saket. Vinita would like to know, did exposure to yoga make you quit the job and pursue yoga?
Um, Could be, actually. That's one thing that could have helped me do this. Also, I think it also came handy when I thought of yoga as a thing. When I didn't have a clue of what I would do, I thought yoga would be something that could help me find my perspective. Like help me judge as to what and what I shouldn't be trying. So I thought of yoga as something that would help me figure out what I should be doing, but it became a part of what I will be doing. It became what I'm doing right now. So yeah, weird.
That's nice. I mean, not everybody does that. It's crazy. Vaishnav wants to. Vaishnav, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Okay, have you ever felt disconnected after choosing yoga as a career?
Disconnected from what?
Disconnected from yoga after choosing it as a
As
career.
a okay, yeah. So this is very good question, because see, as long as you are a practitioner, as long as you're a student and you've been practicing, yoga is a part of your practice every day. But when you start taking it up as a career, you are teaching people yoga, and you're not doing yoga, right? So there's a difference. You're like correcting people, going around and telling them the techniques of how to get into a posture. So that it's very crucial for you to have your daily practice, because you can lose your connection and your touch with yoga very fast, because our body it needs training every day. You do yoga and you have a gap of like say 1 week or 1 month, then your body is going to get stiff gradually, right? So you have to be good in front of your students. Obviously they should look up to you. So I think your daily practice is very, very important to stay in touch with yoga and keep learning more. Don't stop there. When you become a teacher, you will probably think, okay, this is it, I'm sorted. But I don't think you should stop there. You should never stop the learning. You should always be a student, even when you're a master.
Right. Okay. Jaraj wants to know the difference in your difference in experience between cult and personal training?
Okay, like I said already, cult is more of a fitness kind of an institution, right? So there, you can't teach everything that you would want to teach your members. Besides, at least in my session, there would be like at least like 40 to 50 people joining in one session. So there, you can't focus on one particular person, right? So there will
Mm-hmm.
be a person with probably knee pain, another person with like, mild lower back pain or something like that. But you can't pay attention to everyone. It's more of a generic thing. So you teach them a very general form of yoga, which everybody should be able to do. But that's not how it is when it comes to personal sessions. You can add in your essence of teaching into yoga, and you can also completely focus on that particular person and deliver whatever that person is seeking, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the biggest difference.
Correct, right. Would you say the pandemic has affected your professional life? Like now, there would be a lot of people coming to take person sessions. Is that true?
Yes, it has affected in a positive way, fortunately,
Mm-hmm.
because this crisis has like messed up with a lot of our mental state, right?
Right.
A lot of us are getting stressed very easily because we're not able to hang out with people outside. We're stuck at home doing our works, and even physically, when you consider a lot of people working from home, they're having back pains and neck pains. Every when I take sessions, people are like, I'm getting this back pain because I'm constantly sitting and working at home.
Mm-hmm.
So all of these have actually positively affected yoga. People are
Mm-hmm.
looking forward to learn yoga, make yoga a part of their daily lives at least for an hour. So yeah, if at all anything, I think the pandemic has only served us well.
That's nice. Yeah. Vinish is asking. Okay, I believe Vaishna has to answer that. Okay. Uh, would you say that you're living your dreams right now? Is this the life you dreamt of living?
Totally. I think I always wanted to live a successful life, and for me, success is obviously success is probably subjective. For everybody, it's different, and for me, it's not a noun. It's kind of like a verb. It's like success is when you are waking up every morning inspired and excited to start your day. You're
Mm-hmm.
like waking up to, okay, what new shall we do today? So. That is success for me, and I can definitely say that there could not have been a better choice that I could have made, and there is absolutely zero regrets. Like, it's a very fortunate and graceful profession that I have chosen. Like, the fact that you get on the mat, and the fact that people are giving you their 1 hour just thinking that you will make it worthwhile, right? So you are being a source of joy for a person's life every day. And that itself is amazing. Plus, the fact that you are enjoying doing it is also something really good. So, no regrets about it.
Yes. Okay. Balaji wants to know, has teaching yoga continuously, does it tire you, and what do you do when it makes you extremely tired?
Okay, so I don't teach yoga continuously. Like in a day, probably I take about maximum would be 6 sessions, evening
Okay.
as well as morning. So the rest of the day, I'm completely free to do whatever I want to do, right? So I'm not really tired in that sense. But then
Mm-hmm.
when I have this continuous classes with probably like, say, beginners, then you will have to put in a lot of effort to make them understand the postures and stuffs to do. So that can be slightly tiring. But again, it's not tiring in a way that I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do this anymore. It's tiring, but it's a nice tiring, It's the kind of busy that I like. I think I like that kind of busy. It's nice
That's
because you know that you're being productive. You know that it's not going for a waste. When you enjoy doing it, I don't really think you will start feeling it is something that's tiresome. I don't think that'll happen. That's only when you really like your job.
right. Okay. Shrikesh wants to know what are the opportunities that exist in India for people who want to take yoga as a career?
Okay.
I'll ask you the next one after you.
Yeah, so there are a lot of options if you're considering to take up yoga as a career, because right now it's blooming. Okay, everybody wants to do something in this field because it's something that makes you happy, and you're also earning by it. So why not, right? Like, a lot of people are quitting their jobs to do something in this. So definitely it's progressing in India as a career, but again, at the same time, even if you want to do something outside India, then um, you will have double the benefits. I think people are crazy about yoga outside India more than they are in India, which should be the other way around, because it's something,
Yeah,
it's our art,
originated
you
here.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
surprisingly it isn't.
Okay. The second question is, how do people get in touch with you and attend your classes? Is it through word of mouth?
Mostly it is through word of mouth, but when I started initially, I had to choose this online platform called Urban Pro. Yeah, Urban Pro was one thing. A friend of mine suggested, because he used to teach guitar through that app. So I randomly just put my profile there, and I started getting calls, which was quite surprising, because just the second day of me putting a profile when I was a newbie, I hadn't had any teaching experience prior that. I still got calls. So I started with a very basic charge and all of that. Eventually I picked up. So that's how I started with this online app. But then later on, it became a word of mouth thing, right? Like, people started suggesting it to their friends because they were actually happy with what I gave to them. So that's how it
Mhm.
built up. And cult happened because I gave the interview there and all of that. Right about now, it's even through online. I think Instagram and all of that is really helping me
Oh,
with contacts.
but is there any way they can get in touch with you? I think.
Uh, Instagram should be one way they can
Okay, sure.
easily get in touch with me.
Okay, okay. Okay, I think there was a misunderstanding in the previous question by Vaishna. They want to know, have you ever felt done with yoga, like completely done, I
Oh,
think,
no, no.
or that you
See,
focus on something for a while?
sorry, I lost you. Come again?
Uh, is that, I mean, have you ever felt done with yoga and that you want to focus on something else for a while? Have you ever felt that?
No, 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 no. I haven't. Fortunately, I haven't felt that. I think nobody will feel that. If you're somebody who does yoga, you will definitely understand that this is something that doesn't make you tired. This is actually a thing that you would choose when you're tired of something else. But you can't
Right.
probably ever get tired of yoga. So there has not been a day when I thought, okay, I'm done with this. Let me choose something else. Maybe something else will interest me, like I said, but I don't think I'll be done with yoga. Not
Okay,
of
yeah. Balaji wants to know, have you ever lost patience while teaching yoga? And how do you deal with that?
Okay, yeah, there were times when things like this used to happen. I think because, come on, all of us are humans. We have our good days and we have our bad days. Not like just because you're a yoga instructor, you can't really always be that, jumpy, happy kind of a person, right? So there are times when probably you're not in your best of your moods, and then there is this member who is probably not understanding whatever you're trying to teach her, or something like that. I've had members who were very stubborn on learning something, but their condition did not allow them. Okay, so they had these many of their physical problems, like knee pain, that pain, this pain. So their physical problems did not allow them to do so. But then this one member was really hell bent on doing a lot of asanas. So
Mhm.
there are times like this when I lose my patience, but it's not like you can, yell at that person or something, because that's not
Right.
who you are. They are coming you for help, and you can't turn down by saying something. Though So the way I deal with it is I try to tell the person in the nicest way possible. Like for this one person, she wanted like changes in asanas every day. But yoga is not about doing different every day. It's about, uh, becoming perfect in whatever you're learning. It could be the most basic of the basic asanas, but doing it perfectly is what yoga is all about. So I
Right.
told this to her in the nicest way possible, and she understood. So it's not really that difficult. People are not very bad. So you may lose your patience, but you just have to be nice. People will be nice
Right.
to you when you're nice. Or if you still lose your patience, then you just have to take a deep breath and carry on. Anyway, you know yoga. So I think patience has to be something that should always be with you. You
Right.
can't mess up with that.
Do you resort to yoga when you get troubles from yoga?
Troubles from yoga, could be. I think like this when it troubles me, like the scenario that I recently said. I think pranayama and meditation really helps. You really
That's
uh, you will be able to pull yourself together and like, okay, let's go. It's all right. Shake it off.
right. Uh-huh. If not yoga, what else do you think you would have done?
If not yoga, then I write. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so writing would have been my choice, but that was
Okay.
again probably plan. I don't know what BC. I don't know because it was not something I was sure of. But just to convince myself that things can't be go worse because you also have this talent, I think I consider writing that maybe I can do something here also. I
Okay.
don't know. Maybe I'd have chosen that. I don't know.
Okay. Uh-huh. Okay, Bhavya wants to know how do you remember the names of all the asanas?
Oh, this is one question a lot of my members also have asked me. It can be quite tricky because all of the asanas are Sanskrit names. But like I said, I was always interested in yoga and mythology and spirituality and all of that. Okay. My mom
Mm-hmm.
has, growing up, I have learned to a lot of mythological stories from my mother. And in Hindu mythology, you come across a lot of Sanskrit names, right? So it's kind of there inside you. And when you're already interested in a lot of these things, if you see it in that way, yogasana names are just, like either named on rishis, like Matsyendriyasana is named on Matsyendra Rishi, or Vashishthasana is because the Rishi Vashishta is who discovered that asana.
Okay.
So it's either named on saints or it is named on probably like uh, asana that you're doing, the body part that it is affecting. Like Akarna
Mm-hmm.
Dhanurasana is when you're bringing your leg in a way of a bow. That is
Okay.
Dhanura. And Karna means ear. So you're bringing your leg like a bow towards your ear. So when you just have to break it up, like if
Yeah.
you're really interested, it's easy to understand. So it's not really
Right.
difficult.
That's really fascinating. I mean, yeah. Have you looked at the theoretical perspective of yoga? Is that something that interests you?
Uh, Theoretical perspective, yes, but I'm more of a practical kind of a person. I would be interested in it. Uh, maybe I have considered it, but I'll
Okay.
see. I'll see in the future if it happens.
Right.
There's no harm in
What
trying.
about yes, correct. What about spirituality fascinates you? You said you have been spiritually connected from since you were a child.
Yeah, it has fascinated me, the whole idea of your purpose on this earth. Like, I don't know, maybe it comes to each one of us at some point of time in life. Like, why are you here? Like, what is your purpose? Why are you doing things you're doing? Why is this universe the way it is? And what's behind all of those stories that you hear about mythology and stuff? And how is it that you discover yourself? All of these were a big question mark to me, right? Like you see saints who don't eat for days and they are still surviving. Like I was always
Mhm.
intrigued by these aghoris and naga sadhus in the Himalayas. It's something that fascinates me a lot, right?
Right.
So I used to read about all of these, and they have always been a something that's really, really fascinating to me. So I think that's how I was drawn towards spirituality, like just wanting to know more about how these things really works. It's something beyond all of our, like
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
even think it's like one solution to all of this is just to discover yourself, is what they say.
Correct.
Like, isn't it fascinating the fact that you can discover yourself with meditation? I think it's amazing.
That's lovely, yes. Okay, this was a really great session. Before we conclude, what is the message you would like to give the dreamers who wish to follow their dreams?
Okay, first of all, don't be afraid of following your dreams. It's gonna be scary, but you gotta accept that fear, but still keep moving forward and go ahead and pursue your passion. Like lighten up that fire inside you and uh, don't let it go in vain. All of us are blessed with some interest or the other. Just take it ahead. But again, one more important thing is. Don't stop wherever you are right now. Once you figure out what you want to do and you get a job in that field, you don't stop yourself, because it's a competitive world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every day people are changing, people are choosing one job or the other. So maybe you're here today and tomorrow somebody else will replace you. So it's very
Right.
important to keep learning. To also develop your passion is equally important. If you have found
Correct.
yourself doing a job that you like doing, you don't stop there. Dig deep into it, keep learning, and don't limit yourself. Don't settle. Keep that hustle going on. Don't put limitations for yourself, and don't really bother about what people tell you. Don't pay attention to all of these negativities around you. It's your calling. Just do what your heart wants you to do. It's just like one life. Don't live a life with regrets. That's it.
Thank you so much, Pavitra. I think you
Thank you.
have inspired a lot of us with your story. I would like to turn it over to Vinish for the concluding remarks.
Sure. Thank you, Neha.
Thank you.
Wow, Pavitra, that was quite an amazing session, and I think I learned personally. I have learned lots of things, and I have taken notes of a few things.
Oh,
I just want
amazing.
to run through a few of them. What I first heard from you is it did not take me much time to realize that I did not belong here. Wow. Why that is so fascinating for me is for me it took 20 years, maybe 21
Okay.
years. I
Okay.
worked in the software industry for 21 years. It's not that I did not like it, I did like it, but then uh, it took me 21 years to realize that I can do much better things than being a software engineer. So that was one interesting insight that you told me. Then I tried to push it for about 2 years, and then I kind of lost my sense of purpose. Uh, yes, when you are not really into something that you really like, yes, you may end up losing the sense of purpose. I like that point. I wanted to experiment, especially at the prime time of my life. This is, I think, one of the most important thing that most of us don't do. I mean, we have dreams, but then we are afraid of failures and we don't experiment. And personally, I have felt that when we experiment, we learn a lot. We actually understand the truest or the best of our potential when we actually experiment. Then you told that we are robots, the cribbing during the weekend. Yes, yeah. I can relate to it.
Yeah, you should
Uh,
agree with that,
we
right?
have lots of weekends where we used to crib to people around us. Yes, 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 yeah. Then I wrote, every day I have been thinking about quitting. I did not want to be stuck with the social norms. That's a very important point. I think many of the people who don't like their jobs is stuck in that because they are more worried about what will their neighbor think, what will
True.
their distant relative think. And this is, I mean, the social norms actually push lots of people into doing something that they really don't want to do in their life. I like your rule one: accept failure. Failure is the biggest fear of failure is the biggest challenge. I was prepared to be broke, being judged by people. I mean, when I heard those words, I was like, wow, this is something very insightful. Lots of us learn it very late in life. I mean, because we are stuck with the acceptance that we want from the significant others, and I mean with our society. So we are really afraid of failing. Then I noted it's important to have a plan B. Then you told I was excited to go to my yoga classes every day. Uh, and when I stepped on my mat, it was just me and myself. Wow. Then you told success is subjective. It is not a noun, it is a verb for me. You told what new I can do today. I mean, that is something very powerful. I mean, if we can every day think about something like this, it gives lots of energy and lots of power to us. I completely echo your words, and thank you for sharing that. And the last point: people are not very bad. We just need to be nice. And if nothing works, take a deep breath. I like that. And the message that you gave to our dreamers: don't be afraid to follow your dreams, go ahead and pursue, lighten up that fire, and don't stop. It is a competitive world. Learn every day. I think, yes, learning every day is something that everybody needs to do, and it's very important for us. So, Pavitra, that is lots of new things, lots of interesting perspectives that you have shared. Thank you for spending the last 1 hour with us. It was so very uh, I mean, it was an amazing session for all of us, and I'm pretty much sure that all our participants, all our dreamers enjoyed spending that 1 hour with you. And let me thank our dreamers who join us every week to hear such interesting stories. So, thank you everybody for joining us. We will close. Next week, we have yet another interesting guest. So, please join us at 7 o'clock next Tuesday. So thank you, Pavitra. Thank you, Neha.
Thank you,
And thank you
Anish.
all our
I'm glad.
listeners.
Thank you.
Thank you.